Hello and welcome to my kitchen. I'm Judith. Today we're going to do cabbage rolls. So I have just under a kilogram of lean ground beef, which we're going to break up. And add to it 1/2 of a finely chopped yellow onion. 1 cup of long grain rice, uncooked. I know a lot of people cook theirs first, I don't. And 2 small stalks of celery, finely chopped. Now I have a pot of water boiling on the stove, and I am going to put my cabbage in that. I've cleaned off the outer leaves and cored it, and we are going to peel the leaves apart one at a time to roll our cabbage or our filling in. So this will take a few minutes to soften up. Let's go put it in the pot. So be sure you have a nice big bowl to put your head of cabbage in when you take it out of the pot, and you may want some oven mitts or something to handle it with because it is going to be hot. Okay, now on top of the rice, onions, and celery, we are going to put in here a good grind of salt. Hang on here, my salt's not working. And some pepper. Now I don't over season the meat because the sauce that's going to go on it is going to have seasoning as well. Give it a good mix up. There we go. I'm just going to set that aside and clean our board up so we're ready to roll our cabbage rolls. Okay, now that we've got some cabbage leaves off the head, and being as I already cored it, you don't have to remove the whole head from the pot to get the leaves. Just going to place a nice torpedo shape of the meat in the center and then roll it up, folding the edges in. And place it with the open edge down in your pan so that it doesn't unroll on you while cooking. Now you don't want to roll it up too tight because that rice is going to expand. And you do want a nice big casserole for this, because we are going to top it with a tomato sauce as well. And generally I use my roasting pan because I don't have a casserole this big, but the roasting pan works just fine. And if your ribs are really strong, you may want to cut them a little bit just so you can roll it nicely. I'm just going to take the end of that rib out. And we're going to take a handful of the filling, not too big, just make it a sort of a nice little torpedo shape, and place it in there, and fold your end that you cut over and roll it around. Okay, now as you get down to the center of the cabbage, the leaves are obviously going to get smaller, so you have 2 options. You can just make smaller cabbage rolls or put 2 leaves together. So if you're just going to use the 1 leaf, you want to use less filling, of course. And from the size of these 2, I think even less will go in these ones. And they're not that flexible, so yeah, we're going to have to do just little ones. Baby cabbage rolls. The longer you boil the cabbage, obviously, the more flexible the leaves will be. And yeah, this guy. But you also don't want to overcook the cabbage. Alright, our tomato sauce is going to be 1 jar of home canned tomatoes. Cut them up a little bit. And that's a 500 ml jar. And I have about 300 mils of tomato sauce, or strained tomatoes actually. We're going to add some water. Just rinse the jar with about 150 mils of water. Then we're going to add a good pinch of salt, about a teaspoon of oregano, half a teaspoon of thyme, and I'm going to break up a couple bay leaves into it. I don't want them too small because you do want to be able to fish them out later. But I also want them to spread through. Give it a good stir. Now it's up to you how thin or thick you want this. I'm thinking it might need a little more water because we do need a fair amount of liquid for the tomatoes, or for the rice. So I'm going to add, oops. Okay. So we do need a fair amount of liquid for the rice to absorb so it can cook. We want our sauce fairly thin. I'm just going to move that over here. Here is our pan of cabbage rolls. And we are going to pour our tomato sauce over it. Now if it's looking like you should have some more in there, by all means, yeah, it's looking a little dry still, so what I am going to do is just add some water. I'm just going to top it up. Yeah. Okay. So we're not actually covering the cabbage rolls with the water, or just sauce, but bring it most of the way up. And then we're going to take the rest of our cabbage and create a nice lid. I'm definitely cutting the ribs of the cabbage for this. There we go. Now we're going to put our cabbage rolls in the oven with a lid on at 325 for approximately 3 to 4 hours, more or less. Depending on your oven, it'll be 3 to 4 hours to make sure it's cooked through. So they're all ready to go in the oven now, and we will see them later for dinner. Our cabbage rolls have been in the oven now for 3 hours. We're just going to give them a little check, see if they need any longer. So I'm going to move our top leaves out of the way. Get that one just in the center here. There we go. Put it back on. So, just gonna unroll it a little bit and see if our rice is cooked. Looks like it's doing fine. Okay, that looks lovely. Roll back up there. So I think we're pretty much done. Just pop him back in there. Okay, and I'm going to turn the oven off and just return it to the oven and let it cool slowly in the oven. So just in case any of the rice in the center still is not completely cooked. It will hold its heat for a very long time and everything should get a chance to cook without burning anything. Okay, so there's our finished cabbage rolls. And I did make some potato pancakes and boiled some baby carrots out of my garden. It is going to be delicious. And just give me a second so I can cut one of the cabbage rolls so you can see it. Alright, you don't even need a knife to cut these. They are so tender. It is absolutely delicious. The rice is fully cooked. There isn't a lot of tomato sauce the way I make them. If you want a thicker tomato sauce, by all means you could do that. Or make a tomato sauce and pour it over before you serve. If you liked the video, please make a comment, consider subscribing, and I'll be back again soon with another dish. Thank you.